come to realize something in the very recent past, and that's my unfortunate habit of skipping over Subaru vehicles when I'm talking about competitors. And I'm trying to put my finger on the reason why. I mean, any compact car review that I do, I never mention the Impreza. Midsize sedans, where there aren't that many to drive anymore, so I never bring up the Legacy. Compact SUVs though, that's terrible because I often skip over the Forester. And when it comes to three-row SUVs, which I review on a very regular basis, the Ascent almost never makes the cut. I'm trying to figure out why that is. I mean, Subaru is not a brand that boasts or is loud or obnoxious in any way. I mean, okay, they have boasted about their past motorsports prowesses. You know, WRC specifically, the fact that they have some of the safest cars that money can buy, the entire family of Subaru products, and perhaps maybe the fact that they have the best-selling station wagon in North America. Although, I mean, that's not much to brag about, and I don't think they're still trying to avoid people like me calling the Outback a station wagon. So what's going on? Why am I skipping over Subaru products? I can only think of one previously valid reason. Otherwise, I'm at a loss. And the current Subaru that we know now essentially started with this vehicle. It introduced at least one engine. Well, it introduced one engine. It was among the first to be underpinned by Subaru's global platform. And this is the third time that I review this. I was at the launch event, I drove it a couple years ago, and here I am now. And I always really enjoy this SUV, more so than a few of them that I usually recommend. If you can tell by my tone and my, I don't know, relaxed demeanor, I'm absolutely confused. Is it because Subaru products are boring? No, they're not. Anyhow, enough of that. We'll do the usual quick tour of this 2021 Ascent, and then we'll take it for a spin, and I will mention at least once the one reason that creeps up, you probably have figured it out by now already, why I often overlook Subaru products. Anyway, let's go ahead and do it. Let's just kick it off with styling. Definitely, well, it's not the reason why I skip the Ascent when I'm comparing it to, say, the CX-9 or the Ford Explorer or Durango or Atlas or any of that. But truth be told, I mean, it's not entirely a highlight. I mean, you can see the work being done, the flaring on the fenders. You can see where the light kind of reflects off the kinks. It's definitely a handsome SUV, but it's not the most visually appealing. For some, however, that could be appealing unto its own. Frankly, I see nothing wrong with the styling, and I do actually like the bronze color. Possibly blame that on age, but I'm just really happy it's not gray, black, or white. Let's skip into pricing. Now, in the US, the base model is $32,295. At the other end of the pricing spectrum is the Touring at $45,445. In Canada, the trim structure is a little bit different. Our base convenience starts at $36,995. Well, what do you get with for that kind of money? In fact, a fair amount of kits: 18-inch wheels, a 6.5-inch touchscreen display, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, EyeSight, of course, heated front seats, and a bunch of other stuff. From there, you can move into the Touring, which is when you'll get the power liftgate, tailgate included. So I think it's about $2,500 more, if memory serves. Then from there, you move into the Limited, which is what this is. Yes, I'm so happy about that. It's not a top trim Premier, which itself retails for $51,495. Now with the Limited, there are two ways to get it. You can get it either as an 8-seater for $47,995, or as tested, a 7-seater with the second row captain's seats for $48,495. So it's a $600 difference. With the Limited, you get to 20-inch wheels, which are very handsome themselves, 8-inch display, leather, power front seats, both of them, a satellite radio, heated steering wheel, and sunshades. I don't know, the more I walk around it, the more I think it actually really works well. It's a handsome truck. I kind of like the fact that there's no real bumper. That could be an issue, however, in the rear end impact, if whatever it is that hits you hits the tailgate itself, so there could be a lot of damage into the glass. But hey, that's what insurance is for, right? Well, as I mentioned, touring for the power tailgate, and it's pretty fast. I like that. Okay, so with the third row in place, you're looking at about 500 liters of trunk space. When stowed, you're just over 1,330 liters, which would make it average-ish in both respects. I don't know if you got a glimpse of that in the second row, but here are your captain's seats. Here, I'll show you proof. This is actually a really good space to put bags and stuff that you don't want the kids to grab. Yeah, sunshades, I mentioned that right here. Those wonderful feature if you have kids. Space, lots and lots of space for the legs. And despite the fact that my son is starting to grow, I mean, he still has not a hard time, but anyway, he can almost reach the seat back, and it's tilted backwards a little bit. Completely flat floor back here. It's fantastic. And here's, oops, you did not see that. Look, fit, finish, the materials, attention to detail. It's quite nice. Oh, and getting in the back, here, I'll give you a shot. It's actually very doable. I've mentioned it before, I'm about 5'10", and I do fit back there, and there's about an inch of headroom left. All right, so up front here again, that's a pretty good shot. I don't know if camera, yeah, you got like a perforated faux leather here and some stitching and different materials, but they all come together wonderfully well. Love the switches here. I don't know why. I just really like how stubby they kind of are, and they work very nicely. The seats are more comfortable than they look. In fact, let's just slide. Oh, before we slide aboard, this is some of the details I love about that. It's a perfect pocket to put any, well, maybe not keys because they'll slide back and forth, but you can wedge a wallet in there. It's very nice. Mine's nowhere near fat enough to fit that. All right, let's start her up. So you have a digital readout among the analog gauges, which I really like. Here's your Subaru signature display up here, which is 6.3 inches across. You can always toggle through the menus here using the controls on the steering wheel, or sorry, these controls, my bad. There's your 8-inch display. So like I said in the other trims, it's a 6.5 inch, very straightforward HVAC. Very much like that. I love the redundant buttons so you can skip to menus. Storage, however, is not, I mean, this is a okay size bin, but then once you use up your cup holders, there isn't really any other room to put stuff here. But then, see, Subaru thought of that. That's why you have like a full passenger width, length, depth pocket right there to mimic the one on the driver's side. Visibility is fantastic. You get to see right there how kind of narrow the A-pillar is. It does seem fatter from this angle, but look at the size of this window. It's fantastic. There is almost nothing else to say about this except it's time to go for a drive. There's a shifter. Oh, you know what? Then that'll be my segue into that one element that haunts Subaru for me, and there's no good reason anymore to complain about. Yes, the Lineartronic continuously variable transmission. Okay, it's got 8 pre-programmed gears. The rubbery feeling that we're all used to, or a rubber band feeling that we're used to with these transmissions, is all but completely gone. It really works well. In fact, I'm going to repeat what I said when I reviewed the Outback last year. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the top, if not the top, variable transmissions available on the market today. And it fits this SUV's nature, as does the engine it has introduced, which is the turbocharged 2.4 liter flat 4-cylinder engine. Produces 260 horsepower, 277 pound-feet of torque from 2,000 to 4,800 RPM, and it feels absolutely right for this vehicle. I'll just explain that a little bit more in a few moments, but the way the power is delivered, there's a near absence of what is typically associated with a Boxster engine. I mean, you can still hear that grumble, which I absolutely love, having owned a WRX some years ago. But the power, the way the transmission is geared, it just works really, really well. I mean, sometimes, like right there, if you're very gentle on throttle application, there will be a delay before something actually happens, and that's when you feel that rubber band feeling. But as a whole, it is impressively smooth, well adapted to this vehicle. Now, what I mean about, the engine being perfectly sorted, set up for this, it's how Subaru's tuned everything about the chassis, steering and brakes. So brake pedal response, as I'm braking now, it's like relaxed, but not in a catastrophically worrisome way where you have to stand on the pedal for anything to happen. It doesn't bite immediately, but you kind of roll into the brakes. It's a really nice feeling. The other thing, the electric power steering is at first almost disturbingly light. I mean, this is true one-finger steering, especially stepping out of the Explorer Hybrid I had last week. What a difference. But it's so in tune with the relaxed nature of this SUV. The same goes for the chassis and the platform. The general tune here, and I wish I'd had driven either a convenience or a touring with the 18-inch wheels. I don't think I've ever driven one. But I'm Boss 302, you'll have to forgive me. It's very comfortable. There's just enough damping or give at the topmost travel of the dampers so that most of the road's rough surface is ironed out. And this is with the 20s, with the 18s, it must be absolutely glorious. And with all this relaxed stuff going on, the fact that you can tow 5,000 pounds when properly equipped, as always, and that with a reasonable amount of restraint, you don't always want to dip into all that torque, you can potentially average about 10 to 10.5 liters per 100 kilometers with this. I mean, if you're heavy-footed, you'll be well north of 13, and if you do a lot of city, definitely you will get there. But as a whole, I really, really like this SUV, and I know I do. And there's no reason for me to skip over it when I'm talking about the Explorer's competition, or the CX-9's competition, or the Atlas, or the Durango, or I'm skipping over a bunch of them right now. It definitely should be at the very top of your list, or at least within the top 3 to consider in the segment. And look, Subaru owners are the most loyal to their brand in North America, and they have been for like 2 years consecutive. They know something that most of us don't understand, I guess. Because this is a really, really nice SUV. And no, I won't skip over the Telluride and the Palisade. I'm just, as always, a little bit concerned about their reliability and long-term build quality. That's it. This is a great 3-row SUV. That's it.